Now, in this video, we're going to take up one more concept, that is repetition, that is looping. So that means, suppose if I want to add about 10 numbers, so that means I want to add 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10. So the total, if you add, you are going to get some value. So every time I cannot just go to that variable, first printf, enter the value a, that is enter the value 1, then printf the value of n, then sum is equal to a, then sum is equal to 1 plus sum is equal to 1 plus 2, 1 plus 3, 1 plus 2 plus 3, 1 plus 2. So it is elaborative and it becomes more of a laborious process. So we need to reduce that. So for that, what we do, we go for a looping. So that means the repetition of the same thing again and again is called the looping. So once you do that, here a set of statements may have to be repeatedly executed for a specified number of times or till a condition is satisfied. So what are the different types of looping we have? While loop, pre-test or top testing loop. That means first it will check the condition. If the condition is true, then it will going to execute the statements. For loop, it is pre-test, top testing loop. So again the same thing. But here what happens in the for loop is the initialization, so end condition and the increment it takes within the loop. But in while loop it is not like that. It tests the condition and executes the statement and takes the increment in the loop, and again it goes back to the test condition and checks for the value. If the value is satisfied, again it will going to execute the program. Then we have do while loop, post test or bottom testing loop. In this case what happens is the moment when you do first and then checks for the condition. So that means if the condition is, even though the condition is not satisfied, but the loop, it will execute the one time the loop is executed and then checks the condition. That is the reason why the testing condition will always be at the bottommost point of the statement. So we will going to see as and when it comes, we are going to take up the looping. So first, in the first case, we are going to go for the while statement. So what is the while statement? A while loop is a control statement using which the programmer can give instructions to the computer to execute the set of statements repeatedly as long as specified condition is satisfied. Once the specified condition is false, control comes out of the loop. So that is the meaning of this. So first it will going to have some statements. Then while expression, the condition is checked. Once the condition is true, it will going to takes the action from 1 to n. Of course, it will executes. Then once if the condition becomes false, it comes out of the loop and executes the else statements. So this is how it will go to execute. Working how? If the expression is evaluated for true or false. If it is evaluated to false, the control comes out directly of the loop without executing the body of the loop even once. If the condition is satisfied, then the while loop is executed. The statements A that are present by the loop are executed. If the expression is evaluated for true, the body of the loop consisting of the statements action 1 to action n are executed. After executing the body of the loop, control goes back to the expression beginning of the statement and it will check for the true value. If it is the true value, it checks for the trueness. If it is there, again it will start executing. So this is how it will going to be evaluated till it becomes false. Either it is true or false. If the condition is expressing for true, then it will going to checks for the condition to come executing the same thing again and again till it becomes false. If the condition is false itself, it will start executing till it becomes true. So that is the meaning of this. Then the body of the loop is repeatedly executed as long as the expression is evaluated to true. Once the expression is evaluated for false, then the controls comes out of the loop and then statements of A1, A to AN is executed while while loop is executed. So here we are going to take a simple program wherein to compute the sum of the series of 1 to n. So of course include std our dot h and include coney our dot h, since we are using the codes, we will not going to use the conio.h. Then compute sum intn. So what are the variables we want? Here the sum is the total value we want to get. So since the loop has to be executed the number of times, so I will say I. That means I is equal to 1, I is equal to 2, I is equal to 3, I is equal to 4, and so on and so forth. So first, the number when you want to enter, initially we don't have any number. So the sum value has to be 0. So initially the value of sum will be equal to 0. Then I need to initialize the value of I, because if I don't specify I is equal to 1, it starts from 0. So 0 till it executes it. But here I want to make that it has to start from the value of 1, because our value start from 1 plus 2 plus 3. So I will be initialized to 1. Then while I is less than or equal to n. So if the number of counts what I need to do, I want 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5. I want 5 items. So the number of terms what I want to execute is 5. So while I is less than or equal to n, so what will going to be the value? Sum will be equal to sum plus I. So what does that mean? Suppose if the value of n is equal to 5, initially the value of I is taken as 1. Is 1 is less than or equal to 5? Yes. Then it will execute this statement because it is true. It comes into this loop. Then sum will be equal to, what is the value of sum is 0 plus I 1. The sum will be equal to 1. Then what happens? Then it will going to take I is equal to I plus plus. That means I is equal to I plus 1, I plus plus. You can write in either of the form. It is the increment. So then I is equal to, what is the value of previous value of I? Previous value of I is 1. So 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Is 2 is less than or equal to 5? Yes. Then it will execute sum is equal to sum plus I. So what is the previous value of sum? The previous value of sum is 1. So it will go to 1 plus 1, it becomes 2 now, 1 plus 2. So that becomes 3. So then I is equal to I plus 1, that is 2 plus 1 is becomes 3, is 3 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, the sum will be equal to sum plus I. What is that? So here, sum plus I, that is 3 plus 3, because I is equal to I plus 1, 1 plus 2, that becomes 3. So 3 plus 3, it becomes 6. So then 3 plus 1, it becomes 4. Is 4 is less than or equal to 5? Yes, sum will be equal to 6 plus 4, it becomes 10. Then I is equal to I plus 1. So 4 plus 1, it becomes 5. Is 5 is less than or equal to 5? Yes. Then it will go to execute, that is 7 plus 10 plus 5, it becomes 15. So then again it will take I is equal to I plus 1. I is equal to 5 plus 1, it becomes 6. 6 is less than or equal to 5. No, it comes out of the loop. Then once it comes out of the loop, then return the value of sum. So the sum value is 15. Now we go for the main function. Of course, we don't use the clear screen because we are not using the conio.h, because we are using the code blocks. If you are using the C compiler, then you have to write the CLR SCR. Then int n comma sum. Then printf, enter the number of items. I want the number of items. I will say 5. That is what I have executed. Scanf, read that number. N is equal to 5. Sum is equal to compute underscore sum n. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is equal to 15. Then printf, sum of series is equal to percentage d slash m. Sum of series is equal to percentage d slash m. Sum, it will be 15. So the sum of series will be equal to 15. Get function. It is using conio.h. Now how the tracing will going to take place? Enter n is equal to 5. Sum is equal to 0. I is equal to 1. So 1 is less than or equal to 5. It is true. So sum is equal to sum plus I, that is equal to 0 plus 1 is equal to 1. So when the value of I is equal to 1, I plus 1, that is 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So then it checks for the value. I is equal to 2. 2 is less than or equal to 5. Yes, it is true. Sum will be equal to, the previous value of sum is 1 plus 2 is becomes 3. So I is equal to I plus 1, that is 2 plus 1 will becomes 3. Is 3 is less than or equal to 3. Here in this case I is equal to 3. 3 is less than or equal to 5. It is true. Sum will be equal to, what is the previous value of sum? The previous value of sum is 3. 3 plus 3 becomes 6. So I is equal to I plus 1, that is 3 plus 1 it becomes 4. Then is equal to 4. Is 4 is less than or equal to 5? Yes. then sum is equal to sum plus I, that is previous value of sum is 6 plus 4 is equal to 10. Then I is equal to I plus 1, which is equal to 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Then I is equal to 5 is 5 is less than or equal to 5, it is true. Sum is equal to sum plus I, which is equal to 10 plus 5 is equal to 15. I is equal to I plus 1, which is equal to 5 plus 1 is equal to 6. Is 6, I is equal to 6, is 6 less than or equal to 5? It is not. So it comes out of 0. So therefore, in the sum of the series, it will going to print it as 15. So this is how you are going to execute this program by using how it is going to be traced in your program. Now we are going to, by using the code blocks, we will going to write this a program. So to do that, here first we have to compute this program of sum of the series. So go to file, go to new, take the empty file. So here first I will type include stdio.h, then include, so you need not have to take conio.h, so you are going to get compute underscore sum intn. Okay, then we have open the flower bracket int sum comma I, then initialize the value of sum is equal 0. Okay, then initialize the value of I is equal to 1 because we need to start from the 1. So while I is less than or equal to n, okay, then sum equals sum plus I, then I plus plus. Okay, then you take this value, then return, finally you return the value of sum. This is how you are going to write the subprogram, that is user defined function. Then you go to main, then you take this, then int n comma sum, then printf, enter the value, enter the number of terms, then you come down to, then scanf percentage %d and n. Once you do that, sum will be equal to, because since you want to return the value of sum will be equal to compute underscore sum n. Then printf sum of series equals percentage %d backslash n, then you type sum. Okay, then you have to use the get character function. Then you just go to file, go to save file as 101101. So once you do that, now we go for the compilation. So it seems that the file has not been built yet. Do you want to build it now? Yes. So now you are going to get the number of terms. I will just type 5. The sum of the series of these numbers will be equal to 15. Now if I want to give for the file which you say about 10 terms, then the sum of the series is going to be 55. Similarly, if you want to give the sum of the series of 100, so that much amount of total value which is going to be executed. This is the advantage of using this. So the press any key to continue. So you'll be able to use the sum of the series of numbers. You can be calculated by using the repeated loop, by using the while loop. So this is the top testing loop. So first it will check for the condition, and then it will execute the statements, and then it will increment, and again it goes back and checks for this value, and if it is true, again it will going to execute this, and finally it will comes out of the return the value of sum here onto the main program. This is how you will be able to write this program using while loop. Thank you.